you had to guess, how many teenage female athletes get discriminated against because of their gender? Just like a percentage.
A percentage?
Yeah.
I would guess it's pretty high, so I would say 75%.
85%?
I would say about 70%.
Probably like 90%?
Whew, tough percentage. Maybe 50%.
Probably at some point, I would say 60% to 70% have.
I think 80%?
I don't know, I'd probably say
60.
I was gonna say something more like 45 or so, but it's definitely more than it should be.
I would say probably 25%.
And how many male athletes feel discrimination because of their gender?
I would say about 25.
I would say, and I kind of dig deep into some of those, but 20 to 30%, and I think that they get discriminated upon by more of their size and height, but not by male versus female.
Male, a lower percent, so maybe 40 to 30%.
Maybe 5%?
I think it would depend on the sport. I would say less, so 25%.
Probably only like 30. Probably get like 20%.
I would say they get discriminated against for other things, but not because of the gender. But based off of gender, not a whole lot.
Yeah, not less than that.
But we're terribly mean in other ways.
50%?
Over the past year, gender discrimination in sports has exploded in the media. Sarah Fuller is just one example of someone who powered through discrimination.
Vanderbilt Commodores coming back onto the field. They will kick off to start the second half, and Sarah Fuller will kick off for Vanderbilt to become the very first woman to compete in the Southeastern Conference in a football game and a Power 5 football game. And there she is, wearing number 32, her soccer jersey number, and just 6 days ago was winning an SEC soccer tournament championship in Orange Beach, Alabama. And wouldn't you know it, history is on the field in Columbia, Missouri, as Sarah Fuller is about to put her right foot into a football, speaking volumes to women around the world.
If you don't know who Fuller is, Sarah Fuller is a Vanderbilt goalkeeper who made history against Missouri by becoming the first woman to play in a Power 5 game. She started the second half of the game with a squib kick, where the Tigers recovered the ball at the 35-yard line.
And the kick down at the 35-yard line, and Sarah Fuller. Happy Thanksgiving. What a day. What a day in college football. Her mom and dad on hand to witness it. Her boyfriend, her best friend.
I don't know about you, David. I got chills, man. That was pretty cool. That was pretty awesome to see. And what a moment.
Fuller was successful in breaking the stereotype that girls can't participate in football. However, social media was still filled with comments of people who wanted to enforce gender norms, not only on the field, but also in life in general. Even after Fuller became the first woman to ever score in a Power 5 football game, sexists still claimed she didn't belong on the field and what she did wasn't impressive. Trolls claimed that what Fuller did wasn't impressive because anyone could do it, and the only reason she was on the team was because of a publicity stunt, not because she was Vanderbilt's best option for a kicker at the time. Even after winning the SEC Women's Soccer Championship, Fuller had to go to Twitter and post a film to prove her athletic abilities and that she actually can kick far, because so many people were claiming that she couldn't kick far due to her squib kick. Although there were haters, there were also many famous athletes such as LeBron James who supported Fuller. I asked students and teachers at our school to get their opinions on Fuller.
I think that's cool that she was able to actually kick for the men's football team. She certainly showcased that she had the ability to do so and that she was the equivalent of her male counterparts. So I think maybe you'll see this as a pathway for more women or young ladies to get involved in male-dominated sports.
I think Sarah Fuller is really courageous for breaking the stereotype and really going out there and doing what she does. It does take a lot of courage to especially be like one of the only girls like on a team. So props to her.
Sarah Fuller is actually a very inspiring role model to all female athletes. She was the first female to ever partake in an NCAA game, and I think a lot of female athletes can look up to her, and especially with a male-dominated sport, I think a lot more younger female athletes can follow that in her footsteps.
I think it's awesome. I think it's cool when, people, regardless of any type of culture, religion, gender, etc., should be able to do what they want to do, and if they excel at it, compete and do it. I think it's awesome.
Oh, great milestone, college football, Division I kicker. She in my opinion is the apex of what a female athlete should be like competing in a male dominated sport. So it was a great milestone. It was fun to see.
I think she's great. I think she's definitely inspiring to some young girls that
Lots of them, yes.
that want to play football
And sports in general.
Well, yeah,
Being at that high of a level.
She's definitely a different breed of athlete.
Built different.
She's built different.
Strong, powerful, role model, real. Those are words that I would describe her, and making a change.
You made history today. The first female to ever play in a Power 5 football game. What emotions are you feeling now that you've reached such a milestone?
Honestly, it's just so exciting. And the fact that I can represent the little girls out there who've wanted to do this or, thought about playing football or any sport really, and it encourages them to be able to step out and do something big like this, so it's awesome.
We were all patiently awaiting the entire first half, hoping we'd get to see you take the field, but you come out after halftime, you take the field for the kickoff. What was your mentality in that moment?
Honestly, I was just really calm. The SEC championship was more stressful, if I'm going to be honest. But I was really excited to step out on the field and do my thing, so.
Throughout this week, as the story has gained prominence and taken to the headlines, I know you felt a sense of responsibility to use this platform for something bigger than yourself. What message do you hope was conveyed by your involvement today?
I just want to tell all the girls out there that you can do anything you set your mind to. You really can. And if you have that mentality all the way through, you can do big things. So.
Well, Sarah, you paved a new path today, and it was amazing to witness. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Although the majority of gender norms still exist, sports communities are beginning to break through the stereotypes. The NBA and NFL has had female coaches and referees, and a big breakthrough was NFL's first female ref at the Super Bowl, Sarah Thomas. Gender norms and discrimination in sports do exist at professional levels, but what is more significant to us is the discrimination at a high school level. According to the study that I performed at Green Level, 30.5% of the total group surveyed felt that they have been discriminated in their sport at one point because of their gender. However, 51.4% of all the females surveyed felt discriminated because of their gender. That would mean that more than half of all girls have been treated differently because of their gender. When you see a female athlete, it's more than likely that she has been discriminated against. Have you ever seen an athlete discriminated against because of their gender? If so, what was the outcome?
I've seen it.
There's a female athlete who had just slightly more testosterone in her blood work, so they decided that she had to run with the guys instead of the girls.
I saw one of my friends get discriminated by a coach before, and the outcome was she felt really put down and discouraged to try to grow or continue doing what she was doing in the sport.
I don't think I've necessarily witnessed anybody be discriminated against, but I've seen inequalities present. And when you look at participation or the advertising of sporting events that are for women versus men's sports, I think women's sports get less publicized than men's sports.
But as a marathon runner, I've definitely been discriminated against as I've towed the front line of a marathon and it's all males. And I have my hot pink, tall compression socks and they laugh and kind of give me a hard time. And then later in the race, around mile 18, I start passing them and I've had to prove myself. I feel like I'm discriminated a lot when it comes to endurance athlete and being a female. So every time I toe the line, I feel like there's a level of discrimination.
Because I am older and I was a woman engineer, I was one of 3 in my major that was in engineering, and so I guess I felt always aware that there was discrimination. My grandmother, who was born in 1878, believe it or not, was one of the first women who graduated from Purdue with a chemistry degree. And when she got her job, same as males, the only thing she was allowed to do in the lab was to wash test tubes, whereas they were allowed to do the experiments.
Not only is discrimination present at our school, but also the gender norms enforcing specific roles. 49% of all athletes surveyed felt that they had to act a certain way because of their gender. 39% of all males surveyed and 57% of females surveyed felt this way. The majority of girls felt that if they lost, they had to stay positive and couldn't act out. Additionally, they felt that they weren't allowed to be emotional and celebrate even if they won. On the other hand, boys felt that they were expected to always be strong and always do well, and that they were disappointments if they did bad. And this is something that must change. What can you yourself as a teacher do to stop gender discrimination in sports?
I think education is the biggest piece in making people aware that men and women are made differently, and because of that, we as females, we need nutrition differently. We need to be treated as a separate group that's strong and powerful in our own ways, and that we are capable of doing way more than we're given credit for. But I think it begins in the lower grades and educating on what we are capable of doing to give everybody a sense of we're different, but different in a strong way.
I guess just really emphasize the fact that everybody's playing the same sport, and there are not any differences. The only thing that is like really sticking out to me as far as gender discrimination in regard to sports is I'm only thinking of track for some reason, just because of the Olympics and looking at the idea of different genders participating in the same event and how they will see it as an advantage for men or for males. So I guess just really getting rid of the stigmas that are attached with sports and participation in sports, that would be the best thing to do.
I think to always question decisions and to make sure my door is always open, that to have that hopefully open dialogue with athletes, other coaches, and that we, constructively call each other out.
I think I could just support every sport equally. It doesn't matter if they're male or female, and it doesn't matter what sport they play, as long as you support them, because all athletes are family, and we do this to just get better and have a stronger community.
Join sports you wouldn't normally join, like a girl could join football or a guy could join like cheerleading.
As a teacher, coach, continue to educate myself, continue to spread the word, continue to support my female athletes to the best of my ability, and continue to educate my male athletes about the importance of being inclusive and fair with our approach.
If you see someone get put down or discouraged by another athlete, definitely step up and say something, confront them, and educate them on what's right and what's wrong, right? Encourage others. Sometimes everyone just needs that one person to say something, and it can change their entire life.
The way to end this discrimination is by stopping the enforcement of gender norms at young ages. Coaches need to tell their young athletes they shouldn't listen to how society tells them to behave and to not discriminate against others because of their gender. Teachers can teach how gender norms and expectations are damaging to developing athletes. Athletes themselves can stop discrimination by ignoring the roles put on them and treating everyone as equals. It's a group effort. We need everyone, parents, teachers, students, and athletes, in order to stop the massive amounts of discrimination and end society's ideas of gender norms in sports.